I got pregnant on deployment to get sent home. Early, they found out it was faked after a blue-on-blue incident I should have prevented. Okay. So picture this. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, sand in every crevice, sweating through my gear, and I'm thinking, how did I even end up here? I mean, I'm not stupid. I knew deployment was going to be rough. But nobody warned me it'd be this kind of mess. My name's Kaylee. I'm 20, and let me tell you about the time I thought I had it all figured out, only for everything to blow up in my face.
Between us,
I'm still not sure how it got this bad, but I'm going to spill it all. So grab a drink and settle in. It was 2023, and I was on my second deployment to Syria, Fob Cobra, a dusty little slice of hell near Deir ez-Zor. I was a comm specialist, which basically meant I spent my days babysitting radios and making sure the squad could talk to higher-ups without the signal dropping. Sounds simple, right? Except when you're surrounded by a bunch of grunts who think they're God's gift to the army. In a chain of command that's more interested in paperwork than actual leadership. I'd been there 4 months, and I was already over it. The heat, the patrols, the constant threat of some insurgent popping off, it was grinding me down. I just wanted out. Now, I'm not saying I wasn't good at my job. I was damn good. Kept the radios humming. Got the QRF spun up when we needed it. Even earned a nod from the LT once. But let's be real, good doesn't get you home early. And I was done sleeping on a cot, eating MREs, and dodging mortars. I needed a ticket out, and I wasn't about to wait for my rotation to end in 6 months. I got creative. I'd heard stories of women pulling the pregnancy card to get sent back stateside. It's not like they can keep you in a combat zone if you're expecting, right? Medically, they've got to airlift you out. I figured, well, why not? It's not like I was hurting anyone. I just needed a break. Here's the thing. I wasn't actually pregnant, obviously, but I knew how to play the game. I'd been around enough to know the medics didn't dig too deep unless you gave them a reason. So I started laying the groundwork. Missed a period? Check. Complained about nausea during chow? Check. Made a big show of feeling off during PT? Double check. I even threw in some fake crying in the latrine where I knew one of the other females would overhear. Word spreads fast in a phobby, and by the end of the week, people were whispering. Perfect. I didn't even have to say it out loud. Just let the rumor mill do its thing. The elite, this guy we called Captain Clipboard behind his back, pulled me aside one day. He was all serious, adjusting his glasses like he was about to deliver a sermon. Specialist, we've heard some concerns about your health, he said, trying to sound caring, but mostly just awkward. I played it coy, all, oh, sir, I don't know. I've just been feeling weird. Inside, I was screaming. Yes, take the bait. He sent me to the medic. This overworked guy named Doc Harris who looked like he hadn't slept since basic. I gave him the sub-story. Missed cycle. Feeling sick. Maybe it's the stress, but maybe it's something else. He didn't even blink, just wrote it up and said he'd recommend me for a medevac to Landstuhl for a full check. I was golden. Now,
here's where I probably should have thought things through.
Faking a pregnancy isn't just a one-and-done lie. You've got to keep it up, at least until you're stateside and can miscarry quietly. But I wasn't worried. I figured I'd be sipping coffee in Germany by the time anyone asked questions. What I didn't count on was how much drama my little plan would stir up before I even got on the bird. See, there was this guy in my squad, Sergeant Brody, total reformed wild boy type, used to party hard before he enlisted. Now all about making a difference and being the perfect soldier. He was hot. I'll give him that, with those blue eyes and a jawline that made you forget you were in a war zone. Problem was, he was also a stickler for rules, and he had this annoying habit of checking in on me like I was his little sister. You okay? Kaylee, he'd ask, all earnest, like he could see through me. I'd just smile and say, yeah, just tired. But inside I was rolling my eyes. Mind your business. Brody. Thing is, we'd hooked up a couple times in the barracks. Nothing serious. Just blowing off steam. But he acted like it meant something, which was cute but inconvenient. When the pregnancy rumors started, Brody got weird. Like, hovering weird. Kept asking if I needed anything. If I was handling it okay. I swear, he was one step away from knitting me baby booties. I played along, dropping hints about being scared to keep him sympathetic, but it was starting to get on my nerves. He even offered to talk to the LT for me, like I needed his help. Please? I had this under control, or so I thought. About a week after I saw Doc Harris, things got messy. We were prepping for a patrol outside the wire, a routine sweep near some village that was supposedly pacified but still gave everyone the creeps. I was supposed to be in the comms truck, monitoring radio chatter, but I'd been milking the pregnancy thing to get out of anything too intense. I told the squad leader I was feeling dizzy. Figured they'd let me stay back, but Captain Clipboard wasn't having it. "If you're well enough to walk, you're well enough to work," he said, all smug. I wanted to punch his glasses off, but I just nodded, thinking, fine, I'll sit in the truck and nap. The patrol was a disaster waiting to happen. Our squad was short-handed because 2 guys were down with food poisoning from some sketchy local kebabs. The LT was distracted, arguing with higher-ups over the radio about some intel mix-up. And me, I was half checked out, daydreaming about getting back to my apartment in Phoenix and never seeing sand again. I wasn't paying close attention to the comms, which, okay, was my job. But it's not like I was the only one slacking. The whole squad was a mess, guys joking around, not watching their sectors, just begging for something to go wrong. And it did. We were rolling through this narrow road, flanked by mud walls and scrubby fields, when the lead vehicle hit an IED. Boom, just like that. The blast was deafening, even from the comms truck. I froze, my headset crackling with panic calls. Contact, contact. Someone was yelling, and I could hear gunfire popping off. My heart was pounding, but I wasn't thinking about the squad. I was thinking, this is my ticket out. Yeah, they'll have to evac me now. I know, it sounds bad, but in the moment, all I could see was my chance to get home. Here's where I probably should have mentioned earlier. There was this other chick in the squad, Private First Class Tara, total tryhard, always volunteering for extra duty, kissing up to the LT like her life depended on it. I couldn't stand her. In my head, she was that bitch, always acting like she was better than me just because she could ruck faster. She was out there with the dismounts when the IED hit, and I heard her voice on the radio, calling for a dust-off because one of the guys was hit bad. I should have relayed that call immediately, but I was too busy fumbling with my gear, trying to look like I was doing something while my brain was screaming, "This is it. Play sick. Get out." By the time I passed the call up the chain, it was too late. The QRF was slow to spin up because of some miscommunication. Okay, fine. Because I didn't push the message through fast enough. The guy who was hit, Specialist Nguyen, took shrapnel to the chest. He didn't make it. Tara was screaming over the radio, blaming everyone. But I knew she was side-eyeing me when we got back to base. Like, what was I supposed to do? I wasn't out there with them. I was in the truck, dealing with my own stuff. If the LT had listened to me about staying back, none of this would have happened. The BlueonBlue incident came later that day, and it was a total cluster. The QRF, thinking they were responding to an insurgent ambush, rolled up hot and didn't coordinate with our squad. Someone nobody's sure who fired on the wrong target. One of our own guys, a new kid named Rodriguez, caught a round in the leg. He survived, but he'll never walk right again. Everyone was pointing fingers, and somehow, my name kept coming up. Tara, that little snitch, told the LT I'd been off during the patrol, implying I dropped the ball on comms. Excuse me. I was doing my best under pressure. If she'd been clear on the radio, maybe I wouldn't have gotten confused. The aftermath was brutal. The whole fob was on edge, and I was stuck in the middle of it. Brody, of all people, tried to talk to me about it. He cornered me near the chow hall, all serious, saying, "Kaylee, people are saying you didn't relay the dust-off call in time. Nguyen might have made it." I lost it. "Are you kidding me?" I snapped. I was doing my job. If Tara wasn't such a mess on the radio, this wouldn't be on me. Inside, I was panicking, thinking, they're gonna figure out I'm not pregnant. But I doubled down, playing the victim. I'm dealing with enough. Brody, I don't need you piling on. He just stared at me, like he was seeing me for the first time, and walked away. Whatever, he was always too soft. The pregnancy lie unraveled faster than I expected. When they finally got me on the medevac to lunch stool, the docs there ran tests. Surprise, no baby. They didn't buy my "I must have miscarried" story, especially when they checked my records and saw I'd never even been to sit call for a pregnancy test back at Cobra. Word got back to the unit, and by the time I was stateside, the whole company knew I'd faked it. Apparently, Tara had been running her mouth, telling everyone I'd been dodging work for weeks, like she's never slacked off. Please, The investigation into the patrol was the nail in my coffin. They pulled the radio logs. And yeah, okay. There was a delay in my relaying the dust-off call. But it wasn't just me. The LT was arguing with battalion. The QRF was a mess. Why was I the only one getting heat? They called it dereliction of duty and started talking Article 15. I tried to explain stress, exhaustion, the pregnancy thing messing with my head, but nobody was listening. They acted like I'd personally pulled the trigger on Nguyen and Rodriguez. If I was a guy, they wouldn't have cared half as much. It's such a double standard. I got sent back to Phoenix with a dishonorable discharge hanging over me. My career, poof. Years of training, deployments, all that hua nonsense. Down the drain. I'm working some dead-end warehouse job now, barely covering rent, because nobody hires you with a dishonorable on your record. And the worst part, the whole world seems to know. I saw this TikTok from some vet group, didn't name me, but I know it was about me. Comm specialist who faked a pregnancy and cost lives. The comments were brutal, calling me a disgrace, saying I should be in jail. Whatever. They weren't there. They don't know how hot it was. And Brody, that one stings. He got out a few months after me, hooked up with some nurse he met at Landstuhl. I saw their engagement photos on Facebook smiling, happy, like he's living the dream. Meanwhile, I'm stuck here, alone, with nobody to back me up. I messaged him once, just to see if he'd talk, but he blocked me. Typical. He was always too weak to handle me. If they'd all just supported me out there, none of this would have happened. I was doing my best. You know, it's not my fault it all fell apart.